Welcome to Strange Gossip. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Taylor, and this is going to be like your friend's take on the weird.
Because we're tired of real life drama and want to talk about spooky shit.
Welcome to Uncomfy Truths.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's a bit uncomfy.
Always with the uncomfy.
Mine's
but
actually
it's so...
not that uncomfy. Like, I'm comforted by mine, but...
Okay, so the anti of the theme.
Yeah, it's a truth, though, that you would have never guessed. You know what I mean? So I put it in there. Figured it would go with the theme.
I mean, all I know is cheese at this moment, so I have
That's
no
all
idea.
you really need to know.
Oh, I'm so excited to dive into some cheese, especially because I'm dairy-free, so it's going to be great, because if it goes bad,
girl.
It's good.
You know, I don't know. It depends on how you take it. We'll see.
Okay. Well, before we get into it, do you have any current topics?
Honestly, no. And I don't really have like a good flow of like paranormal weird stuff, like news things that I look at all the time. So I feel like when I do research, I find stuff, but I don't really have like
alerts.
I don't know. Like if there could be like a Bing of like the weird, strange stuff, that would be great. If anybody knows of one, let me know.
Like the skim for weird stuff would be fabulous.
Or like just send me an email to my inbox every morning. Like, hey, here's a weird fact. I'm sure there are services like that.
Or if not, we're inventing it. Or we'll get big enough that people will send us enough stuff.
Exactly. Or we are the news source for people. You know what I mean? There could be.
This is true.
So I don't know. I don't have anything, but do you?
Okay, so I do. Not weird stuff, though. It's just the follow-up of the Drake and Kendrick beef.
Oh, what is it? I didn't even know there was an update.
Oh, Taylor, I'm thrilled. Did you know that he had a performance in Inglewood on Juneteenth?
Kendrick, right?
Kendrick.
I saw like a snippet of it, like, but it wasn't really like anything.
Taylor, he doesn't have a new album out. This is purely just to be like,
do the diss tracks.
He literally did his biggest hits and all of the diss tracks.
Okay, Kendrick.
Which is so petty, but incredible. Taylor, he played Not Like Us, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times.
Shut the fuck up.
He played 6 times.
Well, is that like a diss at Drake's, like, I'm in the 6 or whatever?
I think so.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, I think he's always in the 6. I'm assuming that's a place in Toronto. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like
it's
like area code for Toronto or something.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, he played it 6 times. He performed it 5, and then walked the last time it played, he walked out, and the crowd sang every lyric. He didn't have to do it. Oh, and on top of it, Taylor, he had Dr. Dre come out for 2 songs for Still Dre and California Love. And
so
then
Dr. Dre doesn't like Drake?
I think people are picking sides. So Tyler, the Creator, showed up. All these people showed up to this performance.
For a Drake.
And like clearly a lot of people do not like Drake. And Kendrick's like, I'm going to throw a show of all the people that don't like you.
This is like, it's like not even high school drama. It's like kindergarten drama.
It's so petty. Well, apparently Kendrick was really, really upset that Drake used AI Tupac to diss him. And that just apparently opened up a huge can of worms. And even the Tupac estate was like, please take down this song. We did not approve you, Drake, to use like AI Tupac to diss someone else.
I don't remember hearing the AI Tupac's part.
Oh, because he had to take it down.
Oh.
So Drake released a track. I can't remember who else he used AI, but
is
everyone was like, this is so
stupid. Before or after his security guard got shot?
This is probably before. I think this was earlier on. I'm not fully sure, but this was before Not Like Us. And I think Not Like Us happened, and then the security guard thing happened. Okay. Also, now I have an actual strange gossip current topic, if you're ready for it.
I'm ready for that.
Did you see that a mysterious monolith appeared in Las Vegas?
Is it like the thing that appeared, that was like a while ago, right?
In 2020?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, another one has appeared in Las Vegas.
I think this is a stunt. It's just like the diss tracks. It's just like a publicity stunt. Like someone is like pulling those out there and putting them there.
It just makes the most sense because a lot of people I mean, a lot of conspiracy theorists want it to be aliens, which who doesn't? But it really does kind of give, I don't want to say performance art, that's not right, but art installation.
Kind of, yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. And I feel like if an alien, like, I'm not going to lie, I think they'd come down with a vengeance, or like they would just be like, I'm here.
Not leaving art. That would be a very wild.
I don't think they're going to be like, here, look at this installation, and then like maybe we're here. Like I think they're going to be either they're going to be super secretive about it and we don't know and they're already here, or they're going to like walk in and be like, this is my world now, bitch.
Yeah, for sure. I think people liked the idea of like, oh, what if this is like a teleporter? Because they started appearing in different places around the globe in 2020. Yeah. So there was like the first one in Utah, and then I think there was one in the UK, and like they were just popping up all over. But you know, like this is dark, but not like a serial killer. You know how people will copy a serial killer if they like have them? I think someone saw the monolith and went, oh, I can build that here. And then like continue it's like with the creepy clowns. Like remember when everyone had a creepy clown face?
Yeah, that was a weird time in life.
That's another topic for the pod.
No, thank you. No.
But yeah, there's another one. Is it aliens? Is it an artist?
I think it's just no, it's like Bob in his backyard.
Bob in his backyard bored.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, what can we do today? I'm going to make this mirror thing.
Okay, I love it. But that's all I got is music drama and monolith drama.
Love it.
Hilarious. Oh okay, well, are you ready to get into it? I'm ready to hear about some cheese.
Yes. Let me pull up.
Say the weird thing.
At one point in time in the United States, the dairy industry was struggling so heavily that they reached out to lobbyists who went to the government, who encouraged them to buy an excess of cheese to make sure the stock market didn't crash surrounding the dairy industry, resulting in what we now know as the cheese caves, but also something else. While the government stores the cheese in the cheese caves, they also send out plenty of excess cheese to modern pizza chains in the United States, such as Papa John's and Domino's and Jets, and pretty much every pizza chain you know of uses government cheese. Because they had such an excess of cheese and because they were looking for a way to get rid of it to justify the cost of buying so much, the government encouraged a lot of these chain pizza places to use more and more cheese in various products. The government is why we have stuffed crust pizza.
Okay. Is that true?
Not fully.
What's the cheese caves?
That's where I started. So she's not fully right. There's like no evidence that the government gave cheese to pizza chains.
Okay, but first glitter and now cheese.
Listen.
Why is the government behind everything?
This one's not a conspiracy theory, okay? This is real life. There is a market group that's led by the U.S. Department of Agriculture that works with fast food chains to come up with new ways to incorporate more cheese into food products. So she's half right. And that's where like the quesalupa and the stuffed crust like entered the chat kind of thing. And honestly, I want to thank the government for that because I fuck with stuffed crust pizza.
Thank you. Thank you, Daddy
Taco
Government.
Bell. Anything cheesy at Taco Bell, valid. But I dug like deeper into like, okay, I've never heard of the cheese caves though.
No. What the heck is a cheese cave? No.
Okay, right. And then have you heard of like government cheese?
No.
I've always heard of government cheese of like you're on welfare, right? Like that's like, oh, you're eating cheese from the government. Everybody always says
cheese
that.
meant money.
That's what I thought.
Like you're on the government cheese, you're on the government
you're on the government
dime.
cheese. I also thought
not
like it was like
cheese.
I forget what they call that word where it means two things. Like I thought it meant money and like you actually are getting cheese. Yeah, exactly. So like when I heard like you're getting cheese from the government,
they didn't mean literal cheese.
And a lot of rap songs, honestly, is where I heard it. But like this shit's real. So I looked into this.
Wait a minute. This is hilarious. Okay.
I was like, first of all, I need to know what the cheese caves are because excuse me, I'm like the biggest consumer of cheese, I think, in the United States.
This is very true. You do love cheese. And this is giving like cheese. This is giving Mesa Monkey Farm. Like if the cave is close enough, you're going. Right. You're going.
Well, it's in Missouri, but I guess they had a lot of them. Or I don't know. We'll get into it. But I think they had a lot of cheese caves.
Oh my gosh.
So okay. We're diving into the intriguing world of the government cheese program. Yes, a real program that was started in response to the dairy crisis in 1977 and led to the creation of the American cheese caves. So in 1977, the United States faced a significant price increase for dairy products, particularly milk, which threatened to destabilize agricultural markets and strain dairy farmers. To address this price increase and provide relief to struggling farmers, the government initiated a program to purchase excess milk and convert it into cheese. Over the years, the government amassed a stockpile of over 500 million pounds of cheese and stored it in repurposed limestone mines across the states of Missouri. These underground caverns, with their natural coolness and humidity, provided an ideal environment for aging and preserving a surplus of cheese. Okay, cool. To put this into perspective, the average American consumes about 40 pounds of cheese per year.
That's a lot of cheese.
Girl, I consume that in half a year. Get out of here. The surplus cheese stores in the caves was equivalent to the annual cheese consumption of over 12.5 million Americans. That's a fuck ton of cheese. Like, what are they doing with that? So they ask themselves the same ass question. They're like, okay, we buy all this cheese. What are we going to do with it? So they wanted to donate to those in need, right? So the government, the cheese program was like, it had controversies. Like, critics questioned the nutritional adequacy of aged cheese as a primary form of food assistance, highlighting the ongoing debates about the intersection of efficiency and compassion in public policy. So basically what happened is, after President Ronald Reagan took office in 1981, a few years later, mind you, the amount of cheese in the subterranean storage was so great, 560 million pounds of cheese at that point, the agricultural department was thinking of dumping the cheese in the ocean. Like, that was their idea.
Of course, that's the idea. What the heck?
They're like, we just got to put it in the ocean. I don't fucking know.
That's fine. I don't know. We do that with everything else.
So Reagan's agricultural secretary, John Block, shows up to a White House meeting with dairy farmers with 5-pound hunk of rotting cheese and said, we've got 60 million of these that the government owns. It's moldy. It's deteriorating. We can't find a market for it. We can't sell it. And we're looking to give some of it away. And that's a quote. So
I'm so disturbed at the moment.
Like,
this is uncomfortable.
Moldy-ass cheese.
This is very uncomfortable.
The agricultural department sent out 30 million pounds of cheese into school lunch and welfare programs in the temporary emergency food assistance program that promised to give poor Americans a slice of the cheese surplus.
Okay, but it's all the bad cheese? Like, the cheese is already bad by that point.
So some people said this is like during like the 1980s. Like, we gotta ask our parents, like, did you have government cheese at some point?
Did you hear about this?
Because it was like in schools. So I don't know if they were being real generous, you know? Like, they were just like getting rid of their moldy cheese. But some people, like, there's reports of some people like being like, the grilled cheese that comes from the fucking government cheese is the best cheese. Okay. But then there's some that say it's absolutely disgusting and they would never eat it.
That tracks more for me. It's cheese that's been there for years, that's moldy, that is being held in limestone.
So apparently, I never obviously tasted government cheese, but from those that have, that I know of, yeah, good point. They've actually compared it to like a hearty, dense version of the classic American cheese found in like Kraft singles.
Okay, so but isn't Kraft singles like not
plastic?
cheese? Yeah.
Yeah.
like it's so watered down with stuff at this point.
I mean,
because I'm picturing like, because obviously cheese is aged, like a very aged cheddar.
Right.
This is wild. This is wild. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, American cheese is probably my least favorite cheese.
It's the least tasty cheese, so I get it.
They had these like government cheese blocks that like literally like was United States government branded like block of cheese.
Okay, wow.
Like, pretty crazy. Today, some of the historic cheese caves are still standing and actually in use, serving as a reminder of a pivotal moment in American agriculture history. They continue to attract visitors. You can actually visit these caves, sign my ass up. Curious to explore the depths where millions of pounds of cheese once aged quietly beneath the earth. They're no longer being used by the government, though.
So it's just tourism cheese.
It's actually like large corporations like Kraft, Velveeta, they're storing like a fuck ton of Velveeta in there. and like a lot of craft singles.
Yikes.
That's what's happening. And so in the January 2023 USDA report, it showed 1.4 billion pounds of cheese in cold storage right now. And something about that is just comforting to me. Like, we're never going to run out of cheese.
I mean, new spot for the apocalypse is a cheese cave, obviously.
Yeah, like,
that's where you gotta
sign
go.
my ass up for the cheese caves. I'm going.
Underground bunkers that feed into cheese caves. Done.
Yes, 100%. So yeah, that's the cheese caves. That's literally all I have. But the fact that they're actually legit caves of cheese from the government, I'm shocked. And the fact that when people were saying eating off government cheese, they actually meant that shit.
Yeah, I definitely thought that was like a way of like,
knew.
oh, you get paid money from the government.
That's exactly what I thought. But that's like where that saying comes from. It was like a legit thing.
Okay, that's so much cheese that we've had to have had it without knowing at some point. Like, if Velveeta's storing cheese, they don't have to disclose to you that you had. Well,
you probably haven't. But if you've had Velveeta, it's a good chance it was sitting in a cheese cave for a minute.
Have you? Is there photos? I'll look at this after.
Yeah, there's photos online. It's pretty crazy. I mean, there's just like, it's honestly like a wine vault almost kind of like vibe.
Okay.
But like cheese.
Just cheese.
Just cheese.
I mean, if the government's gonna solve problems, I like this problem. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it's part hilarious, part trying to help dairy farmers. Like I see the logic here. Wild, but I see it.
I wonder how many other things they do this for though. Like they're trying to like manipulate prices and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like demand.
Oh, I'm sure that's all the time.
Do they have just like caves of like everything? Is there like broccoli caves? Like what is going on?
Broccoli caves.
But
like, that too.
At first when I watched like the TikTok, I'm like, yes, girl, stuffed crust pizza. And then I was like, then I went down the like, does Pizza Hut and like Domino's actually like get supply? Like, do they actually get government cheese? They can't really. Like, they have to make sure that their cheese has standard. Like, it's like a whole thing. Did they at one time? Very possibly, and they just kept it under the table. But yeah, there's definitely a fucking marketing thing with the Department of Agriculture that's like, put cheese in everything, guys, because they want people to consume more cheese to keep the dairy farms going.
Is this related to when we were kids and how many got milk ads were put?
Yes. No, that is actually from the same marketing team. Yes. That is actually where Got Milk came from, and that's why they want you to drink more milk and eat cheese. And so people are like, this food pyramid is such a fucking lie.
Scam. It's all a scam to get us to... I remember I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I remember being a kid and I would see all my favorite pop stars drinking milk. And I was like, I'm going to be healthy and I'll drink milk. And I'm like allergic to milk.
Yeah, you're like lactose. Listen. I think a lot of people
Thank you, Dairy Board. I appreciate you.
Trent's lactose intolerant. You're just dying. You're like, I just got to keep up.
My bones need to be stronger.
You know, I used to go to my friend's house. I'm not going to call her out on like this
Tell me.
I'll tell you after, but her mom used to force me to drink a glass of milk. I thought milk was the most disgusting thing in the world. I thought it tasted like shit, but I will eat a fucking block of cheddar cheese. I don't know.
It does feel different. It does feel different. Milk is so gnarly.
It is different. Like milk, and then milk is going down, right? So like most people in America are like drinking like almond milk and stuff now.
Mm-hmm. Oat milk.
So yeah, oat milk, that kind of stuff. And so instead of doing that, they have to supplement with other dairy products. So that's why they're pushing more and more cheese again.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a trip because like where does... Oh, man. I mean, this is just...
The manipulation of the government.
Decades, yeah, and just decades of industry that don't make sense anymore. Like, of course, dairy was going to be huge when every single person had milk delivered to their house every day. Right. But we're not in that world anymore. No. So I always have this thing about industry because, like, I understand that, like, loss of job sucks, obviously. Right. Like, you do, like, that is a complicated topic to try and figure out. However, like, dairy is so bad for us. Yeah, like, why wouldn't you just try and pivot or figure something else out. Like everything has its cycle. So to keep trying to force milk on people, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, that's why they pivoted to cheese, because people are addicted. There is literally like it changes the chemistry in your brain.
Cheese?
I am fully addicted to fucking cheese. They've done studies where like it releases like the same kind of like drugs as like cocaine or something, like the same like receptors in your head. I don't know if this is fact. This is what I've heard. And like we've found out on this podcast, some of that stuff is not right. But what I've heard is that it released similar like endorphins and like whatever kind of like dopamine receptors go off when you eat cheese as to when you do drugs. And like it's kind of valid. Like I crave cheese.
Really?
Yeah, I love cheese.
I used to love cheese
Can
too.
I say that more? Like I literally ordered my son a freaking onesie from Old Navy today, and it says "Say cheese" with like a Swiss cheese on it.
Oh wait, that's actually so cute.
And I'm like, that is fitting because you're made of cheese, boy.
You were brought into this world. You were
are
created
thriving
with
off
cheese.
of cheese right now.
Do you? Okay, has your cravings been more or less with cheese while being pregnant?
More.
Like, have you? Oh, so cheese has been even tripled.
He loves cheese. When I eat cheese, he does happy rolls. Like, I swear to God.
Well, you had the Lunchable cheese.
I love Lunchable
That's from a
cheese.
cheese cave. You can't tell me
That 100%.
that's from a cheese cave.
Oh, yeah. That's why it's so good.
Yeah, that's meant for cheese. Well,
Oh,
that's
my God.
the cheese that's also in school lunches. Like a correlation of those things.
Before we forget, I was on the topic of Taco Bell too. So this is another thing that I have not confirmed, but I've heard about. That Taco Bell uses old dairy cows as their meat so that they're not like, and I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast. I don't know why it's coming back to me like I did. So if this is the second time you're hearing this, so sorry, but if it's the first time, they use old dairy cows because it's like a double, like you can use them for dairy and then that you don't have to like waste their product. But that's why some people think that the meat at Taco Bell is gross.
Do you know, Taylor, this is like one of my main stories of life.
Maybe you brought this up.
For the dumbest reason, because I won't say who, I'll tell you obviously, won't say who, but someone we grew up with.
Told you it's grade D meat.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Told me it was grade D beef.
It was so hard to get your ass to Taco Bell.
Still never would. I would just go and just not order anything.
There are things without meat at Taco Bell.
That's what David says. Poor David loves Taco Bell.
David, I will come up to LA to take your ass to Taco Bell. Okay?
He would love it. We live like down the street from a Taco Bell.
That pisses me off. Do you know how far away my Taco Bell is? It's literally like 15 minutes one way, dude. I'm driving.
Well, ours is probably like 10. It's probably like 10.
10 minutes, I'll take it. If you can cut off any time to my Taco Bell runs, you're just making my life.
You need to come up with him. Like the ongoing joke forever was when we got married, obviously we eloped in Vegas, and you can get married in Taco Bell.
Yes.
And I was like, and David's like, we could get married at Taco Bell. And I'm like, how would that make sense to me? For me? How would that make sense?
It doesn't
I
fit
don't eat there. I never eat there because of the person we grew up with that was like, I don't know if she was just trying to be a little like snarky.
Yeah, 100%.
I think she was. Oh, yeah. I think she was trying to be snarky. And so, but I took it hook, line, and sinker. I was like, I'm never eating Taco Bell.
Yeah, I remember because I wanted you to go to Taco Bell all the time, and you wouldn't freaking go. And I was like, dude, just get a quesadilla. And I'm like, fuck.
Well, if you think about it now, cheese and I don't agree anyway.
It's true. It's probably a good thing you didn't go.
I probably was like, let's stick to poke bowls because I'm convinced I always had an issue with dairy, but you don't know. Like, it wasn't as much of a thing when we were kids, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Now it's like socially acceptable, you know?
Yes, it used to be like, oh, well, who wants to be the lame kid? And I feel like I was already the lame kid enough.
Well, you're kind of lame if you eat a bunch of cheese and you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, ASAP.
Yeah, Taco Bell does not end pretty. You know, this is so random, but you don't have Spotify. Oh, you do have Spotify, duh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I am the one that separates my Spotify to. But like, do you know the DJ that like is a playlist that recommends you music?
Yeah.
I love, his name's DJ X. And I was listening to him the other day, and then he was like, what's going on? It's your DJ X. And then I realized that sounded like he's my ex-boyfriend, and now I can't get it out of my head. Like every time he comes on, he's like, "What's going on? Music. It's your DJ X. This is what I think you would like." And I'm like, "This is a scandal."
That actually sounds like what an ex-boyfriend in like high school would do. Did you ever have like an ex, or even like someone that's just trying to get at you, make you like a burn disc of CDs?
I would beg for it. I think I like forced ex-boyfriends to make me a playlist.
I think we did that for each other a lot of times. We would like write on the CD.
Oh, that's magic though.
Those were the days.
I think I used to have some, but God, they might be lost to time.
Mine are like in a leopard like CD carrier somewhere. I think I might have it. It's got to be in storage somewhere. But it's like this furry leopard thing that you used to keep in your car with like your CDs. And it's so fucking stuffed of CDs that it's like can't even zip it close.
That's the best. I was just talking to Wesley. Shout out Wesley, friend of the pod.
Hey, bud.
I was just talking to him about CDs. And I was like, what's so funny is we had that binder, the CD binders. Yep. Ours got stolen out of our car in front of Longs in Lahaina.
How dare. It was expensive back then. You had to buy that shit.
They chose the right car because we had a lot of CDs. I was like, dang. And I was like, probably like first or second grade, but I remember it happening because I was like, what do you mean? Like what
do we listen to?
A little brain trying to figure out how that works. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? What do we do? Wild.
That's so sad.
Wild. Anyway, wow. We went to so many different places with your story.
We did.
But
the cheese caves took us places.
Never knew. Knew. Moldy cheese that we might have eaten as children.
Our parents probably have. We've got to follow up.
Okay, I'll ask my dad.
Your dad will for sure like.
He was in Hawaii by then, for the context. Because he moved to Hawaii in 1974.
Damn, he missed the cheese.
So I think he might have missed like.
Because I don't know, they could have put it on boats and got it there.
Yeah, it's true.
And then it'd be extra moldy. He probably had a bad experience with the government cheese.
Yeah, he was not. He probably was like, yeah, goodbye. We're out of here.
Yeah. Damn.
Wow. Crazy. Okay, well, keeping with the uncomfy truth, are you ready to dive into my story?
Yes. I'm excited.
I am back at it again with another topic we've previously discussed on another episode.
Oh, yay.
Honestly, at this rate, like I won't need to choose episodes. Like every time we bring something else up in it,
I know. We're like,
I'll just do that one.
Yeah, exactly.
But honestly, like jokes aside, when we brought this one up, I was like, this is a no-brainer. I have to do this one next.
Yeah.
Because it's just so absurd. So insane, stranger than fiction. It sounds fake because today I'm covering Balloonfest 86.
Hell yes. That is an uncomfy truth.
Ooh, big yikes ahead. Let me tell ya. Mm-hmm. Let me tell ya. Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
In 1986, the Cleveland United Way wanted to switch things up. Their annual fundraiser was upon them, and they wanted more pizzazz than usual. Mm-hmm. They wanted something new, different, big. Something that would bring a positive light to their city. Maybe a golf tournament? No. Auction? Too simple. So what did they decide on? Breaking the Guinness World Record for the biggest balloon launch in history.
That sounds great. Just knowing how this ends, I'm just like, oh, girl. Well, the marketing team.
Also, that just would never fly today, no pun intended.
No.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm assuming there were no, like, environmental agencies around to protest.
But, like, the lack of thought of, like, hey, where do they go?
Oh, well, girl, let me get into it because, like, obviously the internet didn't really exist the way it does exist now. Right. So, like, obviously there wasn't, like, a lot of people, like, worldwide talking about it. But I did do a little digging because I was like, what? Like, what was the mindset going into this? Right. And there was an article that explained most people at the time assumed balloons floated to a certain altitude and simply disintegrated.
That's cute.
that was like the leading idea. People were like, oh no, like this is what happens.
Yikes, guys. The amount of research back then, we were just so dumb.
Just do whatever. Put the cheese in the ocean.
Not evolved. Yeah, exactly. Put the cheese in the ocean. It's fine. This is like a terrible, like nowadays people get pissed at people like doing like gender reveals. This is like the biggest gender reveal fuck up.
Well, that one caused like, didn't a town burn down because of a gender reveal?
Yeah, there was something like a fire started or like so many things.
It's so true, though. Like, obviously, there are little things that we shouldn't do in this world. Yeah. But the government was going to pour billions of cheese into the ocean, and we're not talking about what did they do? What did they do? You know what I mean?
You know, like, what did they do and not tell us? Okay,
there's a lot of stuff. There's some shit. That's the conspiracy. Was what do we not know that they just swept under the rug?
What the fuck is at the bottom of the ocean?
Maybe that's why, like, weirder sea creatures. Yeah, because we're probably
we're like,
ruined it.
There's a shit ton of cheese down there. We just cannot. That's why when that submarine went down, they're like, cheese.
They're on to us.
I truly think that one was because they were literally controlling their submarine with like the fucking
yeah, it's terrible. That's awful.
Could have been the government.
Well, it's also like, you know, they have like the Legend of Atlantis. Yes. Or like the Road to El Dorado. Yeah. Oh my God, now it's cheese. It's Cheese Kingdoms.
Yeah, it's cheese.
Cheese Kingdoms. I'm so here
surviving.
for it. Thriving. There might be mermaid. Cheese mermaid. Okay, now this is going too far.
Yeah. The Australian cheese mermaids. Okay, anyway.
That's the
oh no, there's cheese. I can't do it, but there should have been a freaking episode.
Here we go. Taylor with impressions and cat. Let's see it.
Oh my God, the cat. That was such a
Every
good one.
episode of ours is connected. I cannot control this
that's
hair.
The doo-doo-doo-doo right there.
Yeah, that's the doo-doo-doo-doo. But I did want to say, oh no. Oh no, Cleo.
Oh no, the chase.
The chase. That is so funny. Okay.
And the balloons now. I don't know how to say balloon in like an Australian accent. A balloon. A balloon. Oh my God.
I love it. 10 out of 10.
Take me
out. Learn.
This is fucked up. What if we have Australian listeners?
Yeah, people from Australia be like, fuck this podcast. This is so rude.
You guys in your American accents, like Valley Girl bitches.
The worst is the Valley Girl. I'll take full acknowledgement that my accent
yeah, you kind of have Valley Girl accents, not gonna lie.
I was talking to David about accents.
I don't know where it came from.
Well, I think just living here because
when
I first went to college, people would ask me what country I was from because I had a weird accent. And I was like, I'm from Hawaii. And I was like, maybe it's just the way we pronounce
people to say I have a weird accent too.
Okay, thank you for making me feel
so.
I was like, what are you talking about? Well, because we all grew up with each other. We're like, what are you talking about?
That's true.
And obviously there's like a bit of pidgin mix in there and like some local words. Like I remember I would use phrases like "leteleon," forgetting that that's a...
Right. Yeah.
You don't know that to not be.
People don't know what that is. Yeah.
Exactly. And I just think over time, just not living in Hawaii and like then living in Southern California, my voice started like,
doing that. Interesting.
The vocal fry.
Well, I guess because I went to Arizona and then I came to San Diego, it stayed pretty.
You have a little bit like less.
The SoCal voice or something. I don't know.
The vocal fry for sure.
I feel like it's pretty. I don't have vocal fry.
I don't think you do.
Mm-mm. No. I think the biggest thing is I call
Smidge Valley though.
No, really?
I think there is a generational accent that comes from because they say that once media was like more rapidly consumed. Now here we go with another side tangent. When media got more consumed by the masses, we all started picking up accents based upon what we watched on TV and in movies. Most movies are shot in Southern California, so a lot of us kind of picked up that accent. Okay. They actually have found out that Gen Z and Gen Alpha are picking up their accents based upon YouTubers and influencers now. So now, because there's so much media, there'll be like a very famous influencer, not just where the industry is, but my favorite are the kids that watch Peppa Pig and start having British accents.
Oh no, that's so cute.
So you better believe my future children will be watching Peppa Pig.
I'm going to turn it on and be like, listen.
Yes.
Listen, little boy.
Have never traveled outside of the United States and fully have a British accent.
Oh my God.
Anyway, So interesting. So fascinating.
Balloons.
Back to balloons.
Yes.
So the United Way, which is kind of freaking me out even more. Like, I knew this was a stunt for a city, but a charitable organization to be behind this is kind of its own, like...
Oh, weird.
Insane.
Yeah.
So the Cleveland United Way partnered with an LA-based company, Balloon Art by Treb, and created their master plan of releasing over 2 million balloons into the air.
That's so many. They needed to get the Guinness Book of World Records, so. Like, someone released, like, 1.9 million before or something.
Oh, I have that later. Don't you worry.
Okay, great.
And the way that it worked was, of course, they did the sponsor. They put together this partnership, but then children would go door to door asking for donations, and for every dollar equaled 2 balloons. So that was kind of how the fundraising aspect went.
They didn't even pay for it. They made, like, the citizens, like, pay for it.
Yeah, charitable organization. Well, you might be wondering, this comes later. Pause. Okay. But that is spot on where we're headed. You're right on. You're right on it. It took 6 months to prepare, and a structure the size of a city block was created to hold the balloons in place before getting released. The balloons were small helium-filled latex balloons, and it totaled 1.4 million balloons when all was said and done. So still enough to break the record. They didn't get to their over 2 million, but that's a lot of balloons.
That's a ton of balloons. Whoever was filling those up was fucking pissed.
Guess what the next line of what I'm about to say is?
Somebody's filling those up.
Who filled them? Question mark. Mostly volunteer high school students. What could go wrong?
Oh my God. I bet that was a shit. People were like inhaling the helium, just 100%. Going.
And don't worry, they did get free t-shirts for the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work.
What a joy.
They did. Free labor.
Oh love a t-shirt.
Love a t-shirt. So after months and months of prep, Balloonfest 86 was finally on. A crowd of over 100,000 people gathered to witness the event on Saturday, September 27th. Again, most people were excited and thought this was a shining moment of history. No one was really thinking,
they're fucking high off that government cheese is what's going on. It's right around the same time. They're on helium and government moldy ass cheese, and they're hallucinating that they're the best fucking time releasing that many balloons into the environment.
Again, most people were excited, and it was a shining moment in Cleveland history. There was a problem, though. A storm was approaching.
Ooh, dun dun dun.
Not just a little bad weather, but a severe weather warning was in effect.
Honestly, that makes it more exciting for me.
Oh, okay, elaborate. Go on.
What do the balloons do? You know, where are they going to go? Are they going to get struck by lightning? I want to see this.
Okay, this is the when you see an ambulance drive by and you have the urge to follow it.
Yeah. You rubberneck it.
Yes, terrible. The weird part of being a human for sure. Mm-hmm. Already way too invested in their big day, organizers decided to release the balloons early to get ahead of the rough weather. Here is the footage from the release. Are you ready?
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of excited. This is like the science experiment. Oh, they really were blowing that shit up manually. Well, the shirts are kind of cute, though.
I'm not going to lie. My toxic trait is that I did check eBay to see if I could buy one.
I was going to tell you if you should look and see. Look how cool that looks, though.
People were pumped. I'm
kind of pumped right now.
You ready? You ready to see this go? So these are people just putting them up.
Oh my God.
That's a lot.
This is suspenseful.
She's Love her.
Fucking on
Here we
cheese.
go. Here we go. She's on the cheese.
She's on the cheese. Holy shit. Oh my God. That's your bowels after talking.
Taylor, look at that though. That's crazy. Burden.
It's a fucking environmental catastrophe.
Oh my God, you're terrible.
Oh my God, this is getting out of hand. I'm gonna stop.
Okay, but as you can see,
who it was this guy.
But it was a parade. Like, it was like, people were excited. Like, it was a huge event for the city. But look at all of that. Those are all
That
balloons.
looks like mosquitoes. You know those like clouds of mosquitoes?
Yes. Thrilled.
This girl's like, shit. Actually,
I won't
this
talk
kid's
about.
like, hey, derm. That's not.
I don't think this is a good idea. Okay, so that's the footage of what happened.
That's
so any guesses of what the impact of this might be?
A fuck ton of balloons in their water systems.
Ding, ding, ding. Correct.
Yeah. And like the amount of animals that ate a fucking balloon skin, I can't even imagine.
Well, let's get into it.
Okay.
So due to the wind from the storm, the balloons spread out way further than they had anticipated. What's worse is that the heavy rain was pushing the inflated balloons back down. Mm. It was a blackout of multicolored orbs blanketing the whole city. Car accidents are happening left and right.
Shut up.
Even the airport had to shut down until a bulldozer could come in and clear balloons off the runway. The balloons spread far and wide. An owner of prized horses in another county was able to prove that their horses were injured due to the shock and fright they experienced because of the balloons. Oh. So much so that they sued and won their lawsuit against the United Way.
Badass. Yeah. Horses, though, they are scared of fucking everything.
Could you imagine all these orbs that are kind of floating towards you, not going up?
Aliens were coming. They were like, for real, dude,
this is
some problems.
Oh my gosh, ridiculous. So Cleveland is also right next to Lake Erie.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So talk about pollution. Mm-hmm. It not only created immense amount of debris and pollution in the water, but it also had lasting effects on the wildlife that ingested all of the latex. So it was just bad, totally bad. And unfortunately, it does get worse.
This is the uncomfy part.
This is the extra uncomfy part.
Okay.
Due to the severity of the storm, lots of damage was occurring in nearby areas without the balloons. For example, 2 fishermen, Raymond Boderick and Bernard Sulzer, went out on the water the day before and didn't return. They were reported missing by their families the next day, the day of Balloonfest. A search was getting underway to find the missing fishermen when the balloons covered the city. The Coast Guard did their best to try and find the men and did find their boat, but the balloons made it nearly impossible to spot them. The balloons, after all, were inflated and roughly the size of a human head. So when you're trying to find actual humans in danger, you have all these balloons that look exactly like bobbing heads in the water. I'm actually going to show you a photo.
I'd be fucking pissed if I died because of balloons.
It's surrounded by balloons. That sucks.
They're probably, well, I guess that's one way to celebrate as you're going out. As morbid as that is. Like if you're like looking up and you're just like, oh, you know?
And so I'm going to show you this photo.
What a balloon looks like. Oh my God.
So imagine trying to find humans. All of these look like humans.
Yeah,
like,
the one in the front
it,
especially looks like a guy floating, but I'm going to ignore that. The one in the middle of the yellow.
This one?
No, to the side, right there, right next to it. It's giving me human.
Well, frightening.
There he was,
terrifying.
Right there.
The helicopter crew described their difficulty of flying around all of the balloons and explained it like they were flying around an asteroid belt. Because think about it, they're like in the air.
Probably,
covered.
I would not want to be in a fucking helicopter during that. They like are so, their little like things are so sensitive.
And then you're just being, you saw how many balloons.
Latex, like absolutely not.
Absolutely
Get me
not.
the fuck out of the air.
It was an impossible feat, and unfortunately, they had to call off the search because it was really way too hard with boats, way too hard with the helicopters flying around.
Oh my God.
The fishermen's bodies washed ashore days later before efforts to find them could continue. Damn. The wife of one of the fishermen sued the United Way and the company that released the balloons for $3.2 million in damages. They later settled on undisclosed terms.
Girl, I'll never settle.
I know.
Should have broke them over the coals. Broke them, rake them. Whatever. Should have got more money.
For sure. I mean, the fact that like there
but
is
back
even
then, that's actually a good fucking amount back then.
86. Yeah, that's actually a good amount of money.
Yeah, good.
How crazy is that where we are now?
I know.
So this event did the opposite of what they had intended and was a huge money loss instead of raising funds. The whole purpose of this event to begin with.
Right.
Even though there were all these horrific outcomes due to the event, many people had positive memories of Balloonfest. This was a thing that happened. For a smidge more context, the year before Balloonfest, Disneyland launched 1 million balloons to honor what would have been Walt Disney's 84th birthday and was the Guinness Book of World Records holder until Balloonfest.
Fucking Disney, man.
Thankfully, they stopped recording this record after Balloonfest because they wanted to deter people, which thank God.
Yeah.
It really wasn't until documentaries made decades later about Balloonfest did people really understand the lasting damage and effects of what occurred.
Well, like, did nothing happen with Disney?
No.
Like, some shit had to go down. They did it in a controlled environment.
I think because it wasn't with a storm and they all just went, I'm sure the research is out there that releasing that many balloons affects birds, pollution. But I think what was specifically bad about this one was it's already bad for pollution as it is.
Right.
But on top of that, you had a storm that
just threw them. Yeah.
Which completely made it even worse. So instead of just letting it all kind of go straight up, which is what I think happened at Disney, I didn't see the footage, but it just went straight up. This went up everywhere, blanketed the whole city, back down, stopped air travel, stopped the freeways, stopped search and rescue. Like,
God.
I think in their mind and in other launches, it all just went up and boop,
and then came back down. Yeah.
Yeah, it came back down, but they weren't paying. It all disintegrated, and it's magic.
I know. I was going to say, are you believing in the disintegration theory here? Because it goes up, must come down.
They did, but it really wasn't until there was a documentary that came out in 2017, and then that's kind of, people still talked about it like it was a positive thing a bit. Like if they were there, because it was such like a beautiful, people weren't really thinking about the long-term effects.
Impressed at first, yeah.
And of course, yeah, exactly. And like they didn't know a search and rescue was going on. They didn't know accidents were happening. They didn't know the long-term effects of it on the lake. Like I bet you in that lake, there's so much latex at the bottom.
I was going to say, there's some freaking mutated fish in that pond.
For sure. And I guess they did say that they were made out of material that can disintegrate, but the jury's out.
I bet jury's out.
Well, jury's out on it.
That's what it said online. Balloons, so I doubt it.
Teenagers were behind it. Like, no. And they just didn't know at the time. But that's what I got today. Balloonfest.
Crazy.
Wow, it's awful.
Yeah. It's just irresponsible people all around today.
Yes. The fact that we've made it this far as a society, wow.
I know.
Wow, I'm impressed.
It's actually impressive.
Throw cheese in the ocean and release all the balloons into the atmosphere.
How much fed the moldy cheese to people instead, God.
Oh my God.
It's very uncomfy. It's definitely
a very uncomfy episode. But thankfully it wasn't so many dead bodies like we normally do.
Yeah. We didn't cover dead body. Well,
there were, but not as many. Not as many as normal.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't murder this time.
Look at us. We're also progressing. Look at us go. That's hilarious. All right, Taylor. So big question. What's the do?
Honestly, just the amount of things that we can pull back to other episodes is just
I know.
Impressive at this point.
It really all ties together. We used to say that kind of just for fun, but
no, it's starting to. I don't know.
Cheese and balloons. The big do for me is that don't pollute the environment. How about that?
Yeah, don't make excess of things you don't need. Actually, I do like that there's still I do like that there's an excess of cheese, just in case.
I mean, at least that's a good plan for the apocalypse. Excess balloons, we don't need it. We don't need it.
The balloons we could do without, but the cheese, we could survive off that. I can. You could not.
I could not. I would die. David and I, we joke about this all the time that in the apocalypse, Chef and I get left behind because only Potato and David have a true chance at survival.
But you're the one that has the coffee stores, so you might actually...
I might be a king in the apocalypse, given the amount of instant packs of coffee. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Yeah, it's true.
True. What I lack in health, I make up for in instant packs of coffee. That's freaking hilarious. God. Amazing. Well, anything else before we wrap it up today?
No, that's it. We'll see you guys on the next episode. And I don't know. What are we going to cover? Do you have like an idea of what you want to cover?
No, I'm wide open. Do you?
I don't know. Maybe we do like haunted. Maybe we go creepy.
Time to go creepy. We've been doing a lot of weird and uncomfy. It's time to get spooky.
Yeah, let's go back to spooky.
And it's officially summer, so summer spooky.
Spooky summer season.
I love spooky summer season. Once we passed the longest day of the year, I got so pumped because I'm like, I love Halloween and I love the fall. And I'm like, we're just that much closer. We're just that much closer.
I love summer. Summer is my favorite. So.
Or peak summer.
We're both thriving. Yeah. We're doing good right now.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
See you next episode. Bye.